All right, well, what's up, everybody? As you can see, I'm in New York City right now. And today I had an idea to do something really dumb. And I don't know why the hell I'm doing it, but I guess I love torturing myself. I don't know. But hopefully it won't be too bad. I have a plan, and I think it's going to be an interesting and hopefully even a little bit of a fun experience. So I have been to New York many times in my life, probably over 100 times. I know the city pretty well. I have a lot of friends that live here. But what I realize is that it's pretty expensive here. Everything from food to transportation, everything else. It's very expensive here. And getting around the city can be very expensive, whether you're taking the trains or taking an Uber or a bus or whatever. It costs a good amount of money. So I thought to myself, is it possible to get to all 5 boroughs in one day for less than $5? Is it possible? I don't know. I mean, I'm assuming it is possible, but how difficult will it be is the real question. I already can assume that there's going to be lots of walking involved, and there's also going to probably be a ferry. Those of you who know, you know, and we'll get to that later. And with $5, that's enough to maybe get me one train ride, one ride on the subway, or one bus ride. Because for those of you who don't know, it is $2.90 for one ride on the subway. So it's not cheap. And that means, considering I only gave myself $5, that means that I literally can't even afford 2 train rides. I can only afford one train or one bus, and other than the one singular free ferry, which I will be taking today, all the other ferries are like $4 or $5 or even more dollars. So those are out of the question too. So can I do it? All 5 boroughs. It is about 11, it's a little after 11 o'clock right now. I don't think I'll be able to finish before dark, but I'm just curious to see if I can even do it in the first place. All right, so the only rule I have is that I can only use this $5 bill right here in my hand to get me around the city. And that includes any mode of transportation other than, well, I mean, obviously walking is free, but basically any mode of transportation that costs money, I can only draw from this $5 bill right here, which obviously, like I said earlier, is not going to get me very far. Other than that, everything I do has to be for free. And the only other rule I have is that I am allowed to spend money on other things. So if I want to, buy food or drink or something like that, I'm allowed to spend money on that, because I'm not just trying to completely torture myself. It's not going to be like what I did in Baltimore. But anyway, I am excited to see how this is going to work. I have a general plan laid out right now as I'm in Transmitter Park in Brooklyn. And I am going to be heading to the next borough, which I think is going to be the easiest one to get to from here, which is Queens. If you know, Greenpoint is really close to Long Island City, a neighborhood in Queens, and I just have to cross a bridge over Newtown Creek, and that will take me over there. It should be about a 20-minute walk from here, and in just a short 20 minutes I can be in borough number 2. Why am I doing this? I don't know. I have no freaking idea. Why do I do any of the crap that I do? I guess I'm just, like I said, I guess I'm just a glutton for punishment. All right, well, I've been walking for about 10 minutes now. The clouds are clearing up a lot. It's getting sunny, and hopefully that means it's going to get a little bit warmer and not too windy. Where's Robert De Niro? Actually, I think that one's even older than his cab was in the movie. Looks like it's from like the 50s. All right, guys, well, very quickly I'm crossing over into my second borough of the day. Yes, it was that quick. It took about 20 minutes to walk from here, from where I started over in Transmitter Park, and I am on the bridge going over Newtown Creek, which is the dividing line from Brooklyn and Queens. So once I cross this bridge, I'll be in, you can see there, beautiful views of Long Island City, awesome neighborhood in Queens that we're about to be in, Midtown Manhattan back there. And then there's Brooklyn back there. There's the Welcome to Brooklyn sign. Let's cross this bridge. You can't really see it from here, but like just over there is the East River. So for a bridge that not a lot of people know about, you know, this doesn't get nearly as much attention as a lot of the other bridges in New York, obviously, because it's not really anything special about it, but the views are incredible. You get a lot of good views of Midtown Manhattan and Brooklyn. Behind me, there's the Verrazano Bridge, which connects Brooklyn to Staten Island. And there's the Welcome to Queens sign over there. And like I said, this up here in front of us, all this is Long Island City. Back in the day, this whole area used to be just like a bunch of like warehouses and, you know, kind of an ugly looking neighborhood, but it's obviously changed quite a bit since then. All right, well, right over here, this is the entrance for the Queens Midtown Tunnel, which is where the Long Island Expressway goes under the East River from obviously Queens to Midtown Manhattan. Looked like that lady was wiping dog shit off her shoe. So normally from here, it would actually be pretty easy to get to Midtown Manhattan. I'd just hop on the 7 train at Court Square and take it straight over. But unfortunately, that is going to be a bit of a problem because I only have $5. And as I said earlier, it costs $2.90 per each ride on the train. So that really should only be reserved for like an absolute necessity. So in this case, I'm gonna have to do something a little crappier. Unfortunately, ferries also cost money. They're even more expensive than the train, so that leaves me with pretty much one option, which is walking. And walking to Midtown Manhattan from here, it's gonna suck. Basically, the easiest way to get there from here is by crossing over the Queensboro Bridge, which is way up north of here. And it's a long bridge to walk over, pretty much same length as like the Brooklyn or the Manhattan Bridge or any of those other ones. But that's the way to do it. It's probably gonna be, I would say, at least an hour and 15 minutes of walking from here. Hopefully not longer than that, but I think it's gonna be at least that long. But I really do think I need to reserve I have one ride that I think I'm going to reserve my $2.90 train ride for, and everything else I'm gonna have to figure out some other way to do it. All right, well, I made it over to Queensboro Plaza. It actually wasn't really that bad at all. It only took like 20 minutes to walk over here. I thought it was gonna be way longer than that, so thank God for that. I'm at the Queensboro Bridge right now. It's literally like right above me. I just got to figure out where the pedestrian walking path is. I think it's right over there. But I'm gonna stop in there and grab a drink because I am thirsty, and the $5 only counts for transportation costs. So I'm allowed to eat or drink whatever the hell I want. Man. All right, well, now that I got something to drink, it's time to walk across the bridge over into Midtown Manhattan. I don't know if this is technically like still Midtown or if it's starting to be Uptown Manhattan. I don't know. I think it's still technically Midtown, but I guess I'll find out when I'm over there. But yeah, this is going to be a hell of a walk over this bridge, and unfortunately what I think is going to be the most difficult part of this challenge is going to be when I get over the bridge into Manhattan, which I'll explain more when I'm over there. All right, I'm on the Queensboro Bridge, heading over towards Manhattan. However, at the moment, I'm still walking over Queens. Haven't even gotten to the East River yet. This is a long bridge. I think it might be longer than the Brooklyn Bridge or the Manhattan Bridge. I'm not sure about that, but I know it goes over Roosevelt Island as well. So that kind of adds another depth to it. I'm looking all the way back over to where I started in Brooklyn. You can always recognize the downtown Brooklyn skyline because of that building right. If I could zoom in on it. I don't think it'll let me zoom in because of the chains. But there's a building over there in the middle that looks just like Barad-dûr, which, if you're not a nerd, that's Sauron's tower from Lord of the Rings. So that's how you can always recognize the downtown Brooklyn skyline. And anybody who's seen that building and have seen Lord of the Rings, you know exactly what I'm talking about. All right, guys, well, I'm officially walking over the East River. And if you look down there, that's Roosevelt Island. And then right behind it, of course, is Manhattan. Unfortunately, can't see too well through the chains, this chain link fence, but it is what it is. Still really cool. And it's crazy how early the sun's setting now. It's only 3:30 and it looks like the sun's already starting to set. Well, I'm walking right over Roosevelt Island right now, which I believe technically is part of Manhattan. So I'm already in Manhattan technically, but you know, of course I want to get to actual Manhattan over there. One thing I actually want to point out really quick that I think is kind of cool. I'm having a problem with the zoom, obviously, because of this the chains. But I don't know if you can see it, but over there, right there, there's like a tiny little island. And that's actually called Belmont Island. It's the smallest island in New York City. And it's literally just like a pile of rocks. And the reason why that island exists is because when they were building the Queens Midtown Tunnel, which I showed you guys earlier, that's all the rubble, they basically just started piling up in the river over there. And it piled up so high that it actually ended up coming up out of the water a little bit and sticking up. So basically that's like, that island is kind of like the top of the mountain of rubble that is mostly under the East River. And it's a named island, even though there's literally nothing on it. I do think it's considered a bird sanctuary. I don't remember the name of the bird, but there's like some species of bird that lives on that island, that has like a big colony on that island, and it's actually like a little bird sanctuary for them. She's having a good time. That's what you call frolicking. That's what that was. Just some frolicking on the Queensboro Bridge. Hey, I'm in favor of it. I am pro frolicking. Thought I'd give you a better look at Belmont Island. It's right there. I don't know if you can see it. Right there. And I'm officially walking over Manhattan now. So, that is now, just as I polish off my Snapple Peach Tea, I've made it to the third borough of the day, Manhattan. And this is where the problems are going to start for me. Remember when these used to be glass bottles, by the way? I just thought of that when I was drinking this. Snapple used to be all glass bottles, and now they got these bullshit plastic ones. Charged more, and it's plastic instead of glass. What a world. Okay, so now that I am officially in Manhattan, I think I can finally discuss what my issue is for the route following where I am now. So first of all, right now I am right about pretty much dead center in Manhattan. I'm right at about the south end of where Central Park is. I mean, that's a little bit west of here, but that's generally where along the north-south grid of Manhattan that I am right now. And the problem with that is that obviously, as I said earlier, I only have $5 to spend. One train ride is $2.90, so I can't even afford 2 train rides. I can only afford 1. And the problem with that is that from here, I have 2 boroughs left, the Bronx and Staten Island, both of which are in opposite directions and both of which are very far from here. I am probably miles away from the Bronx, and even more, probably like 10 miles away from the south side of Manhattan, the bottom of Manhattan, where I can catch the ferry over to Staten Island. So what I'm thinking is there's no really easy way to do this, but I feel like I have to reserve the 1 train ride for my ride from the Bronx all the way back down to South Ferry to where I can catch the Staten Island ferry. And we know the Staten Island ferry is free, so luckily I don't have to worry about that. But that still leaves me with how the hell am I going to get to the Bronx from here? And so I was looking at the map, and it seems like the only really viable way to do this is there is a very small bridge that is kind of it's right near Randall's Island, just north of Randall's Island. And it's called the 3rd Avenue Bridge, and it goes from like East Harlem or whatever that neighborhood is up there over into the South Bronx. Not a very good part of town, but I'll deal with that later. But basically, that seems like the closest way to get to the Bronx from here. And from here, the 3rd Avenue Bridge is a 4-mile walk. So that looks like the only really viable way that I can get over to the Bronx from here with only 1 train ride, which is highly unfortunate. But hey, I've already walked like 9 miles. What's another 4, I guess, right? So I guess I'm going to start heading that way. Right now, I got to walk up to Lexington Avenue and then basically just walk like 3 miles straight up Lexington over to where the bridge is. And then once I cross the bridge, I'm going to walk about another 5 minutes up to, I don't remember the name of the station, but there's a station there where I can catch the 4 train, and that will take me all the way back down to the southern tip of Manhattan. So it'll be a nice long ride on the subway, and then from there I can catch the ferry and complete this journey. So this next 4 miles is probably going to be the biggest slog of this whole journey, because there's nothing really fun, there's no bridges, there's nothing very exciting. It's just a 4-mile walk up Lexington Avenue in, I guess, uptown Manhattan. All right, well, I'm at 59th and Lex right now, or about a block away from there, and I'm basically just gonna walk straight north all the way up to where I have to cross the bridge. And yeah, it's not exactly something that I'm looking forward to here, but what are you gonna do? Like, I mean, I think it'll be not that bad considering how long I've already walked. I think 4 miles of like straight flat walking is going to be kind of boring, but I don't think it's going to be too difficult. And then I suppose I'll get a nice long break once I get on the train, because I'm going to be on that train for a long time. Well, it's starting to get later. I was really trying to make it up here before it got dark, and I did, but the sun is definitely setting now. So I don't have too much further to go. I'm literally passing 127th Street right now. So I think I have like 3 more blocks left to get to the bridge, and thank God. been a long walk. Like I said, literally I just walked straight up Lexington Avenue for like the last, I don't know, 3.5 miles now. And yeah, it's been it's been a slog. It has been a slog. And I'm in the northern part of East Harlem right now. Not exactly the nicest neighborhood in the city, but it's actually way better than the area I'll be in after I cross the bridge. That, I don't know, I'm trying to think it. That might be the worst neighborhood in New York, the South Bronx. I'm trying to think of a neighborhood that would be worse. I mean, there's lots of neighborhoods that used to be worse and aren't as bad now, but the South Bronx is still pretty sketchy, so I'll try to walk and get to the train as quickly as I can, but I'm a big guy. I think I'll be all right. I've been to plenty of dangerous places. Come on. It's just New York. All right, well, I officially made it to the 3rd Avenue Bridge. We got to cross Harlem River Drive and then the Harlem River, and then we're in the Bronx. Those buildings right there, that's the Bronx. I honestly cannot believe I just walked here from frickin' Greenpoint in Brooklyn. That is kind of crazy. But I did. Alright, well there's the Harlem River. So we are officially crossing over to the Bronx. Officially. There's one of the North Metro trains, commuter trains that run from Grand Central up to the northern suburbs, like Westchester County and beyond. I am glad I made it here before it got completely dark. Makes me feel a little bit better. So, like I said earlier, I'm gonna walk. I don't know the name of the station. I should probably Google that, but there's a stop about a 10-minute walk from here where I can catch the 4 train and take it right back into Manhattan and go all the way down to, it's not South Ferry, I can't remember the name of the station, but it goes down to the southern tip of Manhattan, and there's a stop right before it goes over into Brooklyn that is right near South Ferry. And from there I can probably walk like 10 minutes over to where I need to catch the ferry to go to the final borough of the day. But here we are, 4 of 5 boroughs down, and so far not a single dollar spent. All walking. Anyone thirsty? Fresh hydrant water for you. I gotta be honest, this actually isn't as sketchy of an area as I thought it would be. I mean, it is a little bit, but it definitely could be worse. So that's a happy note, I suppose. But I basically just have to walk right up here like one more block to 138th Street, and then take a left and walk like 1 or 2 blocks, and then the Grand Concourse station is right over there. That's where I can catch the 4 train back into Manhattan. And yeah, it's kind of crazy to think about. I mean, it's crazy in general to think that I just walked from Greenpoint, Brooklyn, all the way up here to the South Bronx. But also what's crazy is just the fact that I just walked from 59th Street all the way up to 138th Street. I mean, that kind of puts it into perspective. That was like less than half of the walking that I've done so far today, and I went from 59th all the way to 138th. And it ain't over yet, because of course I'm gonna have a lot of train and ferry riding coming up, but it's still gonna be a little bit of walking. Well, I walked by the station already, but I saw this little gas station here and I had to get a bottle of water. I am definitely going to have a big celebratory meal when I'm done with this excursion, but I'm not really trying to eat too much right now because I just don't want to have like a full stomach when I'm going to be, you know, sitting on the trains and walking everywhere. I'd just rather do it on a, I guess, empty-ish stomach. I did eat before I started doing all this walking, but yeah, I feel pretty good, but I have a feeling once I get on this train, I'm going to want to go to sleep. I'll try to refrain from doing that so I don't get stabbed by a crackhead. But yeah, here we are, 138th Street Station, Grand Concourse, and the 4 train is what I need to get down towards South Ferry. A momentous occasion. It's time to use that $5 bill I showed you guys at the beginning of the day today. Wow, I forgot actually that if you don't use like the OmniPay, like the tap to pay with your credit card or whatever, it actually costs $3.25 now for a single ride ticket. So if you have the OmniPay, which I do, but for the purposes of this video, I just wanted to use the cash and get a single ride ticket. But if you use the OmniPay, it's $2.90. But if you just purchase a single ride ticket with cash, $3.25. Ridiculous. $3.25 for one damn ride on the subway.
Transfer is available to 5 and 6 trains.
Transfer is available to the M60 bus service to LaGuardia Airport. Connection is available to Metro North. This is an accessible station. The elevator is at the rear of the platform. This is a Brooklyn-bound 4 express train. The next stop is 86th Street.
Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
Got on an express train, luckily, so it shouldn't take as long as the local train. But I'm still going to be on this train for a while. I mean, literally got to go from one end of Manhattan to the other, pretty much. So hopefully I'll get a seat at some point, but it'll probably just get busier the more south we go. Already at Union Square, 14th Street. It's crazy how much faster the express train gets you down here than the locals do. It kind of starts running like a local train now, though, so it's probably going to take a little longer from here on out, but I'm only like, I think, 4 stops away now, so getting pretty close. The train is very full, by the way.
Transfer is available to the Staten Island Ferry.
This is an accessible station. The elevator is at the center of the platform. This is a Brooklyn-bound 4 train. The next stop is Borough Hall.
I made it down here in less than an hour, which I honestly cannot believe how short of a ride that was, considering how long of a distance it is. If I was on the local train, it would have been like probably more than twice as long. So thank God for the express trains. That's all the problems with the New York City subway system. I could say one awesome thing about it are the express trains. Those things are like insanely convenient. So I am following the signs right now to see if I can get up to the Staten Island ferry, which, as I said before, is a free ferry. This ferry terminal up here is South Ferry. It's also where you can catch the ferry to go to Ellis Island and Liberty Island, but of course those ones cost money. But the Staten Island ferry is free, and while it doesn't take you to Liberty Island, you actually go right by Liberty Island. So this is the best way to get a good view of the Statue of Liberty if you don't want to pay for it. You can see the Statue of Liberty from plenty of vantage points like the Brooklyn Bridge and stuff like that too, but this is a great way to see it up close without having to pay for it. But it's just, you kind of have to take your pictures of it as you ride on by, you know? You don't actually stop at the island. So in just a few short hours, I literally started this at 11:30 in the morning, and it is now about 5:30. So in 6 hours, I have managed to visit 4 of the 5 boroughs, mostly via walking. And thus far, I have only spent $3.25, which means I have $1.75 left over, but it's not enough for another train ride, and it's not enough for a bus ride or a ferry ride or really anything else. So the only thing I can do is to take the Staten Island ferry, but luckily that is free. This was always going to be how this ended. I had other ways to play around with getting to the other 4 boroughs, but for Staten Island, the only viable option was the Staten Island ferry, which I'm glad exists. All right, well, there it is. The entrance for the Staten Island ferry. I've actually never done this before, so I'm kind of excited. This will be a new experience for me too. I've been in New York, like, I mean, well over 100 times, I think, at this point. But I've never done this for whatever reason. There's a lot of people here, but let's see how long it takes for me to get on the next. Hopefully I can get on the next ferry out of here, but we'll see how long it takes. There could be a long line. It says the ferry runs every half an hour, which I would think means I just missed one, because as you can see, it's 5:34. But there's a bunch of people walking out here, so I don't know if maybe it's late or if people are just walking out. I mean, it looks like it's here, so looks like I made it on the ferry. Like I said, I think this might be the one leaving at 6. They got a bunch of seating in here, but of course everybody's out at the little outdoor observation area. It's pretty cool that this is free. Not a lot is free in this city, so it's nice that there's one thing, I guess. Kind of reminds me of the ferries in Istanbul, because those were all, I mean, they weren't free, but they were like super cheap, like 50 cents or $1 maybe. So that is the closest you get to the Statue of Liberty on the Staten Island ferry. So it gets you really close. and you can definitely get some great pictures of it. It's nighttime. You can probably get even better shots of it during the day than I was able to get, but like I said, you get a really good view of it. Definitely the best free view you could get of it for sure. I think this ferry has a public bathroom, and I really need it right now, so I'm gonna go see if I can use that really quick before, oh, never mind, it's closed. Of course it is. Well, we'll see. Shouldn't be too much longer before we're out of here. Alright guys, well at exactly 6 o'clock I have made it to my 5th and final borough of the day, Staten Island. I have now been to all 5 New York City boroughs. It took me 6.5 hours to do it, and that was with only $5. Technically only $3.25, but $5 was, I guess, a more rounded out number. I guess that extra $1.75 I have left over will go towards tonight's dinner. But yeah, that was crazy. I'm really glad I was able to pull it off. It was a lot of walking, that's for sure, but it was really cool. I've never done, half the stuff I did today is stuff I'd never done in New York, despite the fact that I've been to the city, like I said, over 100 times. That was my first time ever doing the Staten Island ferry, which was really cool. That was my first time ever walking over the Queensboro Bridge, and I think that was maybe like the second time I've ever been in the Bronx. So yeah, lots of interesting stuff that I did today that I normally would never do on a trip out here. And it ended up being about 10 miles of walking. It was like just over 10 miles, 10.15 miles was the exact number. And as I said earlier, I spent $3.25 on the one singular train ride that I took to get from the Bronx back down to the downtown Manhattan, the lower tip of Manhattan. And then, of course, I just took the free Staten Island ferry, so multiple uses of transportation. And yeah, oh my God, can't believe it. It's awesome. So now that I'm here in Staten Island, I am probably not going to spend too much time here. I'm going to get right back on the ferry and go back to Manhattan and then make my way back to Brooklyn because that's where I'm staying. So I still got a ways to go to finish this day out, but I was able to complete this challenge successfully, which I knew it was possible, but I thought it was going to be pretty difficult, which it was kind of difficult. I mean, walking over 10 miles in a day and taking all these different modes of transportation and not just being able to get on trains or, different ferries that I want to get on, it was difficult. But yeah, definitely glad I did it. Like I said, it gave me a different perspective on a city that I've been to a bunch of times before, which was really cool. That's what I've been waiting for all day. Can't be beat, man. So good. All right, guys. Well, I am finally back in Brooklyn, in Greenpoint, very close to where I started from at 11:30 this morning, and I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up the video here. I hope you guys enjoyed that. That was a crazy little adventure around New York City and getting to see all 5 boroughs in such a short amount of time, and doing it all for only $3.25. It was quite the experience. Not, I don't know if I'd call it the most fun experience, but it was certainly an adventure. So anyway, guys, please like this video, subscribe to my channel, share this video around with all of your friends. Let them know what a crazy bastard I am for doing stuff like this. And I'll see you guys soon for another awesome adventure.